taking him to the house. His second touchdown reception today.
San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how you can benefit from the current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content this morning, please join me in welcoming our featured guests and repeat offenders, both of them. We have got Jeff Ball, Friendly Hills Bank. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Ron. Great to be back, and I'm glad to hear that you added sports to your discussion list. I'm ready for that.
I'm always about sports. ESPN, we've got to throw a little sports in there every once in a while. Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance, welcome.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you with us. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call, that number comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I have given up the celebrations every day. I was gaining way too much weight with all these celebrations. But I did notice that today, it's National Monte Cristo Day. So maybe we'll have to indulge right there. That sounds like it might be a good one. So where are you going to get a Monte Cristo? Where's the best Monte Cristo that you can come up with? Give me a call. Let me know. Or just post it right there, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. I don't know about you. Are you dragging a little bit today? I might be dragging a little bit today. I watched The Lullaby last night. It was on CNN for about 3 hours. I don't know. Could you stay awake for that whole thing of childhood games? If it wasn't so important being a major debate, national debate for president, yet the format, to me, I don't know. You tell me what you thought about the format. Just a bunch of guys and gal arguing like they were in school back in the school days. Donald said this. What are you going to say to him? Carly said that. What are you going to say to her? Holy cow, didn't we give that up way back when? And 3 hours of that garbage? I thought I'd watch just to see if they ever got away from it. And unfortunately, it wasn't until the closing statements did they ever get the candidates saying anything of substance. And I don't know about you. I'm just a humble guy that does a little bit of radio in the morning. Could you possibly fathom Donald Trump as president? Now, he says a lot of things that a lot of people want to say, but I don't know. Aren't you? Are you getting tired of hearing how great he is? If you're not tired of hearing how great he is, just listen to him for another 10 seconds, and he'll tell you 10 more times how great he is. Just amazes me, the arrogance, and then I thought the great name, they wanted to know what the Secret Service should call him. Humble. It's probably the first time in his life he's ever used that word.
It is what it is.
And beyond that, I can't imagine who would work for Donald Trump. And yes, I have had people in the studio that do know him and have worked for him. And they say that there is very little turnover within his staff. But if you're not one of his friends or if you're not on his staff, you're an idiot. Just listen to him again. I mean, every single person is a failure, a failed policy. Has there never, ever been anything done right in the world that he wasn't involved with? Unbelievable. But I guess I can understand why we see in the news, I guess it was just yesterday, Tom Brady came out in support of Donald Trump. I guess he doesn't want to be considered a failure. Doesn't want to talk about the balls that he deflated, but that's just a separate issue. But there it is again. I mean, what's the relationship there? And I've said this many, many times. Obviously, on a sports station, it's probably not the best thing to say, but I say it anyway. Does anybody care what Tom Brady has to say? What are his credentials for anybody paying attention to that? He's a football player. And obviously he's a great football player, but he's able to get past the commissioner on sanctions. We know those two things about him. But it's very interesting. I have a friend of mine that's a golf pro, and he taught golf. He's a club pro, not a touring pro. But he was teaching Chili Davis back in the day when he played for the Angels golf. And he ordered some golf clubs for Chili Davis. And he said, what's the difference about the equipment? And my friend turns to him and says, can you tell the difference in your baseball bat? He said, oh, of course, I can tell if it's 1 ounce different than what I ordered. Now, Chili Davis was a good baseball player. I'm not sure in his sport he was as good as Tom Brady is in his. But Tom Brady can't tell that the balls were deflated? Get serious. Moving right along. Speaking of serious, amazing. Breaking of Nobel tradition. It's an interesting report again. This one just came out yesterday. In a break with Nobel tradition, the former secretary of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee says the 2009 award to President Barack Obama failed to live up to the panel's expectations.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Has anything Barack Obama done lived up to expectations? I guess probably most of it. I would say that I didn't expect very much of him, and he's performed exactly in accordance with what I expected. And then we move right along into more news for today. I got a sad story. It's something that I promote a lot, is looking out for our first responders. They do an amazing job. And we cannot say enough, and we cannot thank them enough for the job that they do. Police, fire, emergency room, teachers, military. That's why I created Ron Siegel Radio's VIP Hero program. Saw this story come across again, dated yesterday. California firefighter out battling a wildfire 150 miles from his home in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Lost his own home in a blaze where 600 residents were lost. Unbelievable. You get chills when you hear about this. The man's out fighting for others, yet his house is a total loss. Got to just sit down and say a prayer for them. Also look to see how, I haven't seen yet if any of the Northern California GoFundMe accounts set up. Once we do find that, we will obviously be supporting and see what we can do, Ron Siegel Radio, to help support this firefighter, his family. But just remember, that's those folks, the firefighters, the police, that's what they do. They go out there and they really do look out for our community. And again, just a simple thank you. I saw a young man, it was a TV story just the other day where a young man, maybe 10, 12 years old, saw a police officer in line, and he went up to the police officer and paid his bill at a Starbucks. That's what we need to be doing. That's why, again, the Pay It Forward program that we have here. Teach your kids to go do that. Pay for a firefighter, pay for a policeman, military man, Starbucks, restaurant, wherever. Send us the receipt at Ron Siegel Radio, and we'll put your name in a drawing for a free gift card from one of the establishments that we like to work with. It's how you pay it forward. It's how you say thank you. It's being a good community citizen. That's all it is. Just being a good community citizen, and more importantly, teaching our young people, our kids, how to be good, great community citizens. That's our future. And if we as the quote-unquote adults of the society don't set a good example, what are the kids going to do? Personal opinion again, I just share it here with you. Commerce Department reporting new home construction fell 3% in August. Annualized rate of 1.123 million units, below expectations. Permits to build new homes rose 3.5% during the month. Annualized rate of 1.17, topping expectations. First time unemployment filing, 264,000. I'm sure that the administration will spin that some way for us to tell us that that's really great. Yet at the same time, they're not going to tell us, they will not tell you, you will not see this on the news tonight. Median household income during the Obama years started out $57,000. Median household income, it's now $54,000, down 6.5% during the Obama administration. Not the news that they're going to... The lame street media, they will not tell you that. Why do I share it with you? It's because we need to make a change. Maybe we can go back to hope and change or something along those lines. Philadelphia Federal Reserve's gauge of manufacturing, not good again. All the meanwhile, we are on Fed Watch. Shortly after we leave the air on our morning broadcast, our live broadcast, the Federal Reserve, about 11:15 our time, will tell us what their plans are for interest rates. Does it matter to you? Well, we'll chat about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Fed Watch, we'll see what our guests have to say about it. Fannie Mae introduces Home Purchase Sentiment Index. 3 things you better have if you're serious about buying a home. And it can be cheap to get more than the minimum car insurance. We've got an expert in studio. We'll talk about that one as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
The INE is much more than just the office that's in charge of the elections, and more than the credential that allows you to vote and identify yourself. The INE also exists to guarantee your political electoral rights and to defend everyone's power no matter the age. It's also a place for your opinion to be heard, to promote dialogue, tolerance, and respect, and to discover and share your citizen power. With you, Mexico is more. Join National Electoral Institute. INE.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Darren Smith.
Talking to Philip Rivers. Your optimism for this year's team seems to just be a little bit different than what I've noticed for the last couple of years.
You just from top to bottom, you feel like, man, we got more depth and more guys that can do it than maybe in the past couple of years. You know, so many things have to happen. But yes, I'm excited about the new core group of guys that you go, man, maybe we can be together for a long time and do something great.
Darren Smith, weekdays at noon on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
The Mexican Army and Air Force invites you to come with your family to the Mexican Independence Commemorative Parade on Wednesday, September 16th on the main streets of historical downtown Mexico City and Paseo de la Reforma. For more information, go to sedena.gov.mx or follow them on social media. Mexican Army and Air Force. Together, they are the great force of Mexico. Secretary of National Defense, Government of the Republic.
Go to Fuller Honda, where they exceed your expectations from test drive to delivery. Their professional sales team is committed to a no-pressure, high-integrity approach to your ownership experience. Best of all, the new Honda lineup features some of the best fuel economy on the market, along with contemporary styling at affordable prices. The Fuller family has been servicing San Diegans' automotive needs for over 60 years. Fuller Honda, exit Auto Park Drive off the 805 freeway in the Chula Vista Auto Park.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by Solutions for Change and Evening to Remember. That will be this Saturday night. Do you have your tickets yet? Come say hello to me if you have them. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the McClellan Palomar Airport in Carlsbad. I always get it wrong. Thank goodness Steve had put this in chat for me, and I can still find it. So it is at the McClellan Palomar Airport in Carlsbad. Keynote speaker will be Taya Kyle. Clint Bruce will be there speaking as well. Ending homelessness in California. That is the function. Plan to raise about $2 million that night. Come on out, get your tickets. An Evening to Remember by Solutions for Change. 3 things you better have if you're serious about buying a home. Well, number 1 is you better have a little bit of cash. Unless you're one of our veterans and you can get in for almost nothing, a little cash will do you good. You don't need a lot of cash. Think about that. The FHA loan, 3.5% down. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac now have 3% down payment programs. VA, you know that you have a 0 down payment program. Increase your interest rate just a little bit. See about getting the costs of that loan covered for you. Need to have a credit score. Generally, 620 or higher is going to be best. There are programs out now with a 500 credit score or higher. I'm not a big fan of that 500 credit score. I think you've got some things you need to work on before you buy the house. A manageable debt ratio. If you got that 500 credit score, you probably have not been managing the debt ratio too well. But generally, let's try and keep all of our debt to income ratio at about 45%. That would be your car payments, your housing. Housing includes insurance, student loans. That's the biggies. Keep all of that in place. 45% is the target number. Again, there are programs that can get around that a little bit. But do you want to? I don't want you to be living for a mortgage payment. You need to enjoy your life. So the idea here, get on a game plan to buy a house. If you're looking to rent, shame on you. You need a game plan to buy. Rents are going up. I just spoke to my son yesterday, and he has not bought a house yet. He's getting started in his career. And there was a note on his door that if he wanted to stay in the apartment that he's in with some buddies, $500 a month rent increase. $500 a month. Now, if you get a 30-year fixed rate loan, you know what your increased mortgage payment will be every year? Yeah, nada. You might have to pay a little bit more for property taxes, but again, not a whole lot. That is Your Credit Matters. Again, brought to you by our friends over Solutions for Change and Evening to Remember. So we're going to chat a little bit this morning. We got both Jeff Ball and Mark Rhone in the house. I'm going to probably take a progression here because the business is somewhat tied together. Jeff is our community banker from Friendly Hills Bank. So tell us a little bit about community banking, Jeff, and Friendly Hills as well.
Well, thank you, Ron. We are a small business-focused bank that is in Whittier. I'm the founder of the bank. I spent many years of my career at Bank of America, and we decided that we wanted to provide an alternative. Back at that time, 9 years ago, the big banks were dominating the market, similar to what we're seeing again now through consolidation, and so we wanted to provide an alternative to the business owners in that region. We primarily focused on Southeast LA County and North Orange County, but really have clients throughout Southern California that are looking for an alternative to the larger banks where they can have direct access to the decision makers and also be able to get the type of service that people should expect from a bank.
9 years ago, that was great timing.
Yeah, it was not the best as it looks. It was not the best timing, and people often ask me if you had known what was going to happen, would you have opened the bank? And the answer is, of course not. But the fact is, we did, and we have survived, and we're really proud of the fact that we stuck with our clients through the recession. We didn't cut anybody's line of credit. We had very open lines of communication, worked very strongly with our clients to get through that period of time, and as a result, have a very loyal client base, and we're looking to grow it.
I think that's part of the beauty of a community bank is the idea, it kind of brings us back to, I wasn't there but probably in the 1800s when you could actually walk into a bank and shake hands with a person instead of getting a phone tree that says press 1 for English.
Absolutely, and we take great pride. We have our bank culture is what we like to call the cheers environment, and that is that our clients are acknowledged when they walk in the door. And invite any of your listeners to come and visit us and just see how banking could be. And yes, it goes back to those times, not even that long ago, Ron, even back in the 60s and 70s when banking was more personal and the people that you were dealing with in the bank had the ability to make decisions and things could happen on a handshake. And so we try to bring more of that element back. The important thing is knowing who you're working with, having that relationship. So when opportunities come along, you have somebody that you can talk with that can work with you. And just as you give people great advice on looking at buying a home, we can also give that business owner great advice on how they can finance that expansion or what they need to be planning for.
And the idea that I love that you share with us when you've come in is the concept of being the guiding light or an outside counselor, so to speak. I think being that I've owned my own businesses for my entire life, the idea of being able to go to somebody, as an entrepreneur, obviously most entrepreneurs, and I'll say this because I have been one, they know the answer to everything, just ask them. You've probably never had an entrepreneur come to you with a bad idea, and being able to look at it as from an objective standpoint as sort of a partner with their business is a great counselor to the operation.
It definitely is, and you have to be objective. Sometimes I don't tell people exactly what they want to hear.
That's good.
I tell them what they need to hear. And the sad fact is the economy has evolved and more regulation has come into place, and that is always to the advantage of the bigger player. It makes it harder for the smaller guys to compete. And what I often find in talking to my clients, I open my business to make widgets, and I'm spending less and less of my time focused on making widgets and more of my time focused on management. If I wanted to just be a manager, I would have gone a different path. And so we try to be there to help them, to coach them through those things, to provide a reliable sounding board so that we don't get approached when somebody's ready to do something. We're often approached when they're starting to think about doing something.
Big difference.
And there's a huge difference in that.
You become that community trusted advisor that the larger banks can't provide.
Correct, and they are more focused on volume and transactional business, and we are focused more on relationship. Same reason why somebody should go to Ron to look to buy a house or have that financed, because he's going to take the time to work with them and understand them. Whereas we see a lot of larger entities, corporate entities primarily, who they're just focused on the transaction. When you want to buy a house, call them. When you want to finance a house, call them. After that, they have nothing to do with you. But somebody like Ron stays with you, and we approach it from the exact same line.
To me, it's the only way of doing business. I mean, my dad often taught me, or early on taught me, that you can't retire off one transaction. But you can do, if you work with somebody for a lifetime, number one, you've got a relationship, and you have a good life as well. That's the beauty of it. I know one of the things, and the other thing that it's kind of interesting that you brought up, Jeff, is that when I go out and talk to different banks, lenders, people in the industry, they're talking in so many areas that they're hiring, but they're hiring compliance officers instead of loan officers or people to do business. Are you finding that as well? I mean, I'm going to probably throw out two names that are probably on your favored list. I know, to me, I always talk about the two biggest loons in Washington, or they were, thank God they're gone, Dodd-Frank. But you have to live in that world probably as much as anybody.
We do, and it has certainly changed many of the cost factors in our business, and to some degree has changed the way we have to do business. But fortunately, we've been able to continue with that relationship type approach. And it may mean we have to ask a few more questions, may have to get a few more documents, but at the end of the day, we're still able to serve our clients and provide the type of relationship banking that we think is valuable. Sadly, what it does in any industry, whether it's insurance or mortgage or in retail sales, the more regulation you put on, the more restriction you put on, it serves more for the larger guy. because the way to make up for that cost is volume, and when you become more focused on volume, you lose that service aspect. And that's what has happened with banking, sadly, and that allows us to provide a different alternative for that small business owner out there.
And you know something, ironically enough, that's what, you listen to the president and he talks about the idea that they're looking out for the little guy, but every one of the policies make it easier for the big bank. I mean, I would assume, I don't want to ask you financial statement questions, Jeff, but I'm just guessing that Chase probably has more money than Friendly Hills Bank.
Chase is larger than us, but actually I am better capitalized. But I think the point to focus on here is you had a comment earlier. You were talking about the drop in middle class income, I think was in part of your opening comments. And I think that is attributable to the rise in regulation.
Sure.
When we raise regulation, there are cost factors that have to get pushed into the economy. And where does that get hit the hardest? The middle class. It's that middle class family that they don't have the ability to absorb a lot of that, and it comes through in pricing, it comes through in choice, and all of that hits on the middle class. So not only are we impacting their ability to earn an income, we're also increasing the cost factors that they have to deal with in trying to survive.
So you lower the income and increase their fixed costs and want to know why life isn't as enjoyable as it could be. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with our guests, Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance, Jeff Ball, Friendly Hills Bank, Fannie Mae introducing the Home Price Sentiment Index, and is it cheaper to get more car insurance? Maybe you do a little bit better off with a better policy than just the minimums? We're going to ask Mark about that one as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few. I love Solutions for Change. They're dedicated to solving family homelessness, one family, one community at a time. They do beautiful work, truly changing lives. They're a big event of the year. It's the 5th annual gala, an evening to remember with our American heroes, Saturday, September 19th in the Jet Source hangar at the Carlsbad Airport. It's going to be awesome. Taya Kyle, author and widow of Chris Kyle from American Sniper, is going to be the main speaker. Joining Taya will be Navy SEAL and former pro football player Clint Bruce, and I have the honor of attending the festivities as well. Jeffrey Strauss from Pamplemousse Grill will be catering the evening. There's going to be a hosted craft cocktail reception, live entertainment, silent and live auction, all to raise money for Solutions for Change. Tickets are available. Please grab them as soon as possible. I'd love to see you there. 760-941-6545. That's 760-941-6545 or solutionsforchange.org.
Padres baseball on the mighty 1090.
High fly ball hit really deep. I mean, simply car rush. Big time blow by Solarte.
Tomorrow, the Padres head out to Colorado for the first of 3 against the Rockies. Catch the first pitch right here at 5:40 p.m.
Swing and a miss. This ball game belongs to my San Diego Padres.
On the home of the Padres.
How about them boys?
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home but you have health concerns about it?
The Preferred Care team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel lending team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency. Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. If you are a small business, maybe even a big business, take credit cards, paying a credit card processing fee, Commerce for a Cause, they will match your fee 98% of the time and then give a 20% rebate of that fee to the nonprofit organization of your choice. If you're helping out a community organization, maybe a school or charity in the area, how about using that as your 20%, giving it back to them? Think about that. Could be good. The question we are posing this morning, or the comment we're going to pose, it can be cheap to get more than the minimum car insurance quote. Just saw this come out the other day, this article, and I thought, how timely. Most states, and I don't know about California, but I know we're the state of confusion, so we'll ask Mark about this. Most states have a minimum car insurance requirement. Mandatory minimum. 12 states have what they call a 25, 50, 25. $25,000 for injuries to one person, 50 for total injuries in any one accident, 25,000 in property damage. So that is a minimum that 12 of the states have. Then they've also got their minimums for, I don't know, 50,000, 100,000, all these different numbers that go in there that confuse the heck out of me. I just let the insurance people take care of it. But here's the concept. The study was done in Alabama and in Georgia. So in Alabama, to get the minimum insurance, $747 was the fee, versus getting a high liability insurance was $778. $31 more. That's using one of the companies. I'll just go by averages. That makes it easier. $619 for the minimum, $683 for the high liability. Georgia, $736 for the minimum, $868 for the high liability. Ohio, $527 versus $579. $50 is the difference between having minimum coverage and a high liability coverage. Does that make sense to you? Are you asking just for the minimal? Now, if you can't afford anything, then maybe that does make sense. But I think that insurance really needs to be a part of your overall financial plan. And I'm not one of those people that believes that you're entitled to insurance. That's not my world. That's not my belief. I had an insurance license back in the 90s. I shouldn't say how long ago it was. And the first thing that they teach you when you're going for insurance is the definition of insurance. It's basically assuming somebody else's risk for a fee. That doesn't mean I'm entitled to it. It means that I'm paying somebody else to take on my risk. The key words there, that it's my risk, it's not their risk. They're not forced to do that. So I have to look at it from a standpoint of what do I want to give up? What am I willing to accept? Not the other way around, that they have to take it. It's just my personal opinion. That's a Word on Wealth segment brought to you again by Commerce for a Cause. So let's see where I might have gone wrong on that. Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance, in the house again. What do you think, Mark?
Ron, thanks for having me. I think you're hitting on an accurate point there. Minimum for auto insurance, the minimum requirement in the state of California is 15-30-10, so 15,000 liability per person, 30,000 per accident, and 10,000 in property damage. And you're entirely right to bump that up a tier or two within the rating is usually minimal, and you end up doubling or tripling your coverages.
15,000 is the minimum.
State of California.
What can you do for 15,000?
For injury, not a whole lot.
I mean, you can't go to the hospital.
Right. And then if you think about the property damage, which is where a lot of the expense is, because hopefully no one gets injured in an accident.
Sure.
But at 10,000, you're picking up a fender and a door on a BMW. And if you wipe out a couple cars in your rear end or something like that, once that 10,000 is exhausted, the attorney letters start coming to you instead of to the insurance company.
And the insurance company then really, they've written it off. They basically say from day one, as I understand it, if we get a claim, this is what we're going to assume is our liability. And if they max it out, they're just saying, okay, we already assumed that, deal with it.
Back to what you had said, you're purchasing an amount of transfer of risk. That's all you're doing in insurance. So it's your choice to purchase the amount of risk transfer that you're willing to pay for a fee.
So let me ask you this, just from a financial standpoint, and maybe it's an area that you and I haven't really talked about this. I generally don't like to go there when I don't know that we haven't had it briefed, so to speak. But I had an insurance man come in one time, and he said that the deductibles that were set up, the $500 deductible on someone's house, that was geared for our grandparents, not in this day and age.
100%.
His comment further went on that, what if you were to take the difference between a $500 deductible and maybe a $2,500 deductible, whatever that premium difference is, and put that into a savings account or a Roth IRA.
Right.
And let that money just continue to grow. What is the statistic here? And again, I'm not sure we know the answer. How often do we have a claim on our car or our house? Once a year, every 5 years, 10 years?
In the state of California, average every 12 years on your home.
12 years?
On your home. And then the auto because you can't control people driving.
Sure.
So it's frankly more often than that.
Okay.
Yeah, just based on the number of drivers.
But let's just use, 10 years as a number. If you throw 10 years of an insurance premium that maybe is $200 a year different, throw that into and I don't know, is $200 a realistic number for a $500 deductible to a $2,500 deductible?
Right, the savings between that. And there are, each carrier has their kind of, for lack of a better description, sweet spot for their deductibles,
okay,
where they have found that they can be the most profitable.
So if you try and just put that money aside, right, and basically have that, have a banked account for your deductible.
That's entirely right. And then you've got it there so that when something does happen, you're not stressing on trying to find $1,000 or $2,500,
right?
And which is what we're seeing in homeowners a lot more now, is a $2,500 deductible, even on the smaller houses. And that really is the part of the insurance company, which I'm not sure is really the best idea for consumers, because a lot of times if you have a claim, you can't afford a $2,500 deductible, but they want you to go there because they're trying to eliminate the small nuisance claims.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the way they incentivize that is letting you know that literally if you file in a couple small claims, even if they're little pay or no pay, you're going to be canceled if they're similar in nature.
Interesting. You glossed over quickly a comment there that I want to get back to because it's one of the things that's really important, I believe. You made a comment that every carrier has their own sweet spot.
Right.
And I think that might be the beauty of, if I go to a agent that only handles one carrier, how am I going to ever know what the sweet spot is?
Exactly. And that, I mean, obviously that's where Stonebrook, as a broker, we have, 10, 15 carriers that we represent for multiple different lines and things like that. And coming back to what we were talking about before with, community-based businesses.
Sure.
What you do, Friendly Hills Bank, what we do at Stonebrook, having that trusted advisor is so critical in my opinion.
Absolutely.
As opposed to a national player that's working out of a warehouse in Omaha.
Absolutely. And ironically enough, we're just in the process of rolling out our area trusted providers or professionals for Ron Siegel Radio. So it's going to be an interesting program that I think you're going to really, really like and appreciate, because we have that household board of directors that I talk to you about all the time. And we're going to go out and find the area trusted professionals that we can say, okay, they're doing business the right way, or what we perceive as the right way. If you're in line with what we're doing, that area trusted professional might be the person for you to talk to and not have to go do quite as much shopping. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Jeff Ball and Mark Rhone when we come back. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Dan Cilio.
Chargers are giving me some gear. Yeah, anybody who gets gear for Dan Cilio, I can easily be bought. I am Italian. And if you like to grease me, easily done. I can be greased.
Dan Cilio. Weekday mornings at 6.
Wow, am I a hooker.
On San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694452.
I love Solutions for Change. They're dedicated to solving family homelessness, one family, one community at a time. They do beautiful work, truly changing lives. They're a big event of the year. It's the 5th annual gala, an evening to remember with our American heroes, Saturday, September 19th in the Jet Source hangar at the Carlsbad Airport. It's going to be awesome. Taya Kyle, author and widow of Chris Kyle from American Sniper, is going to be the main speaker. Joining Taya will be Navy SEAL and former pro football player Clint Bruce, and I have the honor of attending the festivities as well. Jeffrey Strauss from Pamplemouse Grill will be catering the evening. There's going to be a hosted craft cocktail reception, live entertainment, silent and live auction, all to raise money for Solutions for Change. Tickets are available. Please grab them as soon as possible. I'd love to see you there. 760-941-6545. That's 760-941-6545 or solutionsforchange.org.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel lending team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel lending team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. VIPHeroProgram.com to see if you qualify. Military, active, retired, reserve, all of you. They all qualify. First responders, police, fire, nurses, teachers, all of you. There's $5,000 to $10,000 in rebates from real estate professionals, mortgage professionals. Yeah, the attorneys are even kicking in. Who would have thunk it? The credit repair people, they're kicking in. And I can't tell you that the title and insurance and the escrow companies are giving you a discount. That would be illegal for them to give you a discount. But they have special published rates that are below the market. So we can term it that way to meet compliance. Jeff, we were talking about compliance earlier. You got to say it the right way.
There you go.
Got to say it the right way, or else we'll get our friends in the title insurance business in trouble. Fannie Mae introduces a home price sentiment index. Hey, you got to love it. They've got the money to do anything they want. Index will distill results from Fannie Mae's consumer-focused national housing survey into a single monthly predictive indicator, according to Doug Duncan, Senior Vice President and Chief Economist at Fannie Mae. The goal of the new index is simple. You got to love it when a government entity says something simple, but I will quote, the Fannie Mae Home Price Sentiment Index provides the market a single number to track consumer attitudes focused on the housing market. Utilizing our National Housing Survey, the only consumer sentiment survey of its kind focused on housing, the HPSI will offer insights regarding current and future-looking housing markets, outcomes, and will complement existing data sources to inform housing-related analysis, unquote.
Sounds simple.
Doesn't that sound simple? I like the graph, though. I can see pictures going up and down. Holy cow. Just what we need is...
Simple for government.
Exactly. Simple for government, and obviously we know that it'll last forever because there's nothing in the government that ever goes away, especially a tax. That's the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the VIP Hero Program. Very interesting. I'm watching as we are on air today because we are on Fed Watch. Irony, I'm wondering... Mark, you said that you had one of your children were listening?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. I was just wondering if the world is awake out there. I do monitor the markets. When we came on air, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 4 points. I'm looking right now, it's up 4 points. When do you ever see the Dow Jones doing absolute... Oh, now it's up 11, so I guess as we spoke, it got a little better. Up 10. Doing absolutely nothing while we're on Fed Watch. Jeff, from the standpoint of a small business person, should they be watching what the Fed's doing?
Well, it's always important to watch what the Fed does, but I think it's also important to realize that you have to be prepared for action to go either way. None of us are experts at predicting exactly what's going to happen. I can tell you, I don't think they're going to raise today, but I could impact my Tom Brady credibility index if they do raise the rates later today. But what's important is when you're managing your personal affairs, your business affairs, you really have to do it with an eye towards being prepared for it to go either direction. Because the fact is, it's something that we as small business people, as consumers, we cannot control.
Sure.
And so if we had the ability to accurately predict, we would probably not be sitting here right now. And we would be able to make money directly on that skill. That's not what we're in the business of. We're in the business of managing risk, and we always advise our business owners to do the same. I think there will be a moderate impact when rates go up. I think it will happen. I think it's just a question of when.
Has to.
At some point,
Right.
yeah, it has to. I mean, we've been in this temporary situation so long that we have people in the industry, in the market now, that don't even have a sense of what normal interest rates are. What concerns me is how it impacts the behavior of the economy. And the fact is that we are incenting people to borrow and disincenting them to save. So as I was listening to you talk about the insurance thing and the difference in premium and putting it away, that makes sense. And in today's market, that's harder to sell. And it's a real challenge. We try to be very careful with our clients to make sure that they don't overborrow. And from a business perspective, that can be the most crippling thing you can do to your company, is to overborrow too soon.
Which is counterintuitive to what the bigger banks want you to
They want you to borrow, they throw the lines at you, and they encourage you to use them. And the biggest mistake that we often see, Mark, is where people will use a line of credit that does not have a principal payment requirement, and they will use that to buy an item that depreciates.
Exactly.
So using a line of credit to buy a car, in 5 years, the value of the car is 10% of what you paid for it, but your debt is still sitting there at 100% of what you paid. And that, unfortunately, there's not a lot of discipline in that type of borrowing, and that's where we often see people get in trouble.
That's one of the big problems we see in a lot of areas. I mean, right now, one of the big issues that's in the marketplace is those folks that took out a home equity line of credit, 10 years ago, as the market was booming, and they're not making that principal payment that you were just talking about, and now they're looking at the withdrawal period or the usage period is expiring after that 10 years, and they've either got a full due clause in there, which some people do. Most people, though, have the clause in there that basically says it's going to start amortizing,
right.
And you've got a loan that's going to amortize over 20 years that's sticker shock.
Well, and actually, most of those amortize over either 10 or 15 years. So your standard home equity line product back then was a 25-year product, and you either had a 10-year revolving period followed by a 15-year amortization period, or you had a 15-year revolver that goes to 10-year ammo. Either way, that's a very aggressive principal payment, which is much different than that interest only they've been enjoying for all this period of time. And if the Fed raises rates, that will likely directly impact the prime rate, which is the index most of those are tied to.
Because they're all adjustables.
Yep.
All adjustables.
And you didn't plan for the principal and interest part of it.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's a
So
good
now your
time
budget's
for
blown.
people that have those. It's a very good time for them to amortize them out with a conventional mortgage.
Makes a lot of sense. Or, I've got a report that we just did recently basically saying that people don't realize how much equity they actually do have in their properties now. And those of you that have equity or want to know if you have equity, think about this concept. Have you thought about selling your house? If you're thinking about selling and you think you don't have equity, maybe you do. I don't know whether you do or don't, but I do know some real estate agents who can help you, and we can get you educated. That's the key word. Just all you have to do is free. Cost you absolutely nothing. All you have to do to get our new home sellers guide, text HSG, home sellers guide. I'm a simple guy. That's how you get HSG to 79564. We'll send you that free guide, and maybe it'll make sense to you. We'll see how that works. But the concept there again, education, talking to people that understand. I want to share a little story because I did throw this out there on social media this morning about getting great guidance. And Mark, I'm going to brag for you because I know that you're not going to do it yourself. As a client that we shared your information with, they called me and they said they got a quote on an insurance program, and it was less than half of what they were budgeting.
Right.
How do you do something like that and still give them what they need?
Ron, I appreciate you doing that. Speaking to our agency, we're trying to do a good job for our clients there, and it really is just kind of understanding the market, understanding what the client really needed, and having the ability to approach several different carriers. And again, back to the sweet spot. If there's a carrier that works well in a certain area, which this carrier did, they were able to be very, very competitive on the rate.
And obviously, again, you got to go back to professional guidance. It's your professional household board of directors. If you're a small business owner, you need to have the big banks on the corner, they serve a purpose. I'm not going to say that they don't serve a purpose, but you got to have a relationship with somebody. That's why I like to chat with Jeff Ball, because you can have a relationship, you can get guidance. And I'm sure that there's ways that they all work together, but here's the issue. Professional guidance helps you from your banker, from your CPA, from your lawyer, from your insurance person, real estate person, mortgage person. All of these people are part of your team, and we want you to have a great team. That's why we talk about it every morning. That's why we ask you to set your first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about your house and your bank account. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Paul, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your time with Ron Siegel Radio. Call me anytime with any questions, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Remember my mantra, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
This Thursday through Sunday at Firestone Complete Auto Care. Save $100 when you spend $500